My name is Randy Anderson, and welcome to part two of your discovery and training on our new world-class flagship product, Probio Balance. I know we're also excited to get this out. We've got a little bit of time to go yet before we are going to be able to do our pre-sale event. However, we want to make sure we're giving you lots of information on this incredible formulation and how we think it's going to change not only your life, ours, and anybody else that is going to soak up this information and use this incredible formulation. So Probio Balance by Modexus, the gold standard in clinically proven probiotic metabolic support. That's a mouthful and it's a lot, but every word matters. And today, for the second part, we are going to discuss specifically enhances optimal lipid levels. Probio Balance, yes, it does. Enhances optimal lipid levels. And I'm joined today by two members of our product research team. I'm going to let Alan Ogden kick this off in Vancouver. Alan, welcome. Thank you for your time and your immense knowledge on this. And I know we're going to be joined by Dr. Rouse here shortly as well, who likewise, I've never seen either of these gentlemen so excited about a new formulation as what we have with Probio Balance. So, Alan, the floor is yours, sir.
Well, good day. Thank you very much. And I'm excited to take the floor. Like you say, I don't think I've ever been so excited about the launch of a product in my life. What I wanted to mention today for folks is, often we wonder, well, what can we say about a product and what can we literally tell people and not get in trouble or not cross some line? So in 2014, I was party to a discussion paper that was put out by the FDA. Now, a discussion paper is where the FDA has asked various researchers around the world to do a meta-analysis of trials and research information that's in the database and then come up with some direct conclusions from all of that research. So there may be thousands of papers that have been published on a certain aspect. And then today we're going to talk about lipid metabolism and the liver. And then they release a discussion paper. And the reason for that discussion paper is it gives guidelines to manufacturers of supplements and drugs of some of the directions they might want to look for research for a new drug, or in our case, a new supplement. And so in that paper, they were very, very clear about the decrease in liver function, both as we age, but just overall in the population as we see it in America today. And we've seen skyrocketing in obesity. We've seen skyrocketing focus challenges in youth. We've seen a lot of health issues that have appeared in the last 1 or 2 decades that didn't exist before. And one of the things that they finger pointed in this FDA discussion paper was the reduction in people's liver's ability to do lipid metabolism. And when the liver can't handle the lipids, then that comes then out into the blood, and it causes all sorts of problems. Where it gets stored in fat cells, it's free in the blood. There's just many, many challenges that come from that. And lipids then start to occupy the cellular membranes in places where they shouldn't be. That interrupts protein metabolism, interrupts a lot of hormone metabolism and the enzymes involved in that. So they were very clear that if we could find a way to increase the liver's ability to handle lipids, break down fats. Lipid metabolism is just literally the breakdown of fats into something that our body could either use, and if we can't use it, then we could get it out of the body. But that would be very, very positive development for people with any kind of metabolic disease. And metabolic disease is a broad term that's used now for cardiovascular disease, diabetes, some immune function diseases, but they come under this broad sort of category now of metabolic disease. In other words, we're not using the food that our body consumes in the way we're meant to use it, and then it backs up and it's left up to our liver to literally handle that. And most of that is fat, because our body doesn't have a storage mechanism for protein. It does have a storage mechanism for sugar, but that gets overloaded quite quickly in our body. And then the body just now starts to put fat in places that it shouldn't be. So lipid metabolism has been finger pointed by the FDA in many chronic ailments, and the development of supplements or drugs. They use that for some drugs. Anything that could help lipid metabolism was being encouraged by the FDA. Now, the challenge with drugs, and I want to really make people understand this, the problem with drugs is when you stop that process in some particular place, like if you take a statin drug or if you take another lipid lowering type of drug, and it literally stops the whole process, you get downstream effects from that, which become very evident, and in some people can become quite severe, like muscle tenderness, dizziness, fatigue. There's all sorts of downstream when we interrupt the liver with a drug, because unlike a natural product that encourages the body to do what it's doing naturally, drugs literally, they put a stop, they put a barrier in there. And while you might correct one, or you might see one marker that looks positive, they don't ever take into account the downstream effects of that. So doing it in the way that we're doing it with Probio Balance has this really positive downstream effect. So we're not blocking liver lipid metabolism in the liver, we're encouraging lipid metabolism, and that also then encourages all the downstream benefits from having optimal lipid metabolism. So this is things that the FDA has put out there to healthcare manufacturers, drug manufacturers. So we can absolutely say that if we take this product and it is encouraging lipid metabolism, we're going to see benefits in diabetics, in cardiovascular disease, in gut health, in overall positive lifestyle changes where our body's better able to use food. So weight management, possibly many areas that is affected by increasing lipid metabolism in the liver. So anyway, that's one thing I wanted to mention to people today. We've used good science. We've used information directly from the FDA to sort of as the thrust of our research here. So we're really on side with all the regulatory agencies in what we're doing, and we're really looking at all those downstream effects. And this is going to, I believe this is going to produce some tremendous positive results that maybe we can't even anticipate yet, because we don't measure those downstream things on a regular basis. So anyway, I'm going to send this over to Dr. Charlie, and I'm sure he's got some great positive things to say as well.
Hey, Alan, and you know, it's fun to work with Modexus. We have a product research council. Dr. Dina Hackett down in Florida. Here's our buddy Alan up in Canada, and yours truly, Dr. Charlie Rouse in Georgia. But you know what? We meet together quite often because product research requires a lot of research. And what we have in Probio Balance is coming out of the world's best research. I mean, we're talking about mega research all put together. And today we're talking about Probio Balance enhancing optimal lipid levels. And when I talk about lipids, I'm just talking about fats. And we're talking about two in particular, cholesterol and triglycerides. And whenever you can manage those, when you can balance those, Probio Balance, that's the key. When you can balance those two fats, then your body can utilize them for the better. Because believe you me, you need the fats in order to build the right molecules, especially in the brain. And you don't want to be fathead and miss out on a lot of good thinking. So when it comes to cholesterol, there's two kinds of cholesterol. good and bad. And they always say, well, how do I know which is good and how do I know which is bad? When they draw your blood, they're going to come up with the LDL and the HDL. I always say, remember, LDL, that L stands for lousy. So you can know on your blood profile if the LDLs are too high, then everything's lousy. Everything's going to be a cardiovascular mess. So we got to look at that. We need to take care of two cholesterols. We need to only lower the lousy, but we need the good, the HDL, to keep on keeping on, because the HDL is the protector. The HDL is the mechanism of action that goes over there and gets the LDL and carries it away. If you want to carry away the bad, you got to raise the HDL. Probio Balance is balancing both aspects, getting rid of the bad and keeping the good up and up. You need healthy levels of cholesterol. I guarantee you need healthy levels of cholesterol. And a lot of people take prescription medications that lower cholesterol. But the problem is that if you lower cholesterol too much, then you're setting yourself up to many other metabolic problems. And dementia is a major problem when cholesterol is being sequestered too low. You need balance. Balance is a key. And the HDL is the protector. So we want it to go in there and carry away only what we don't need, but we need it to enhance the optimal lipid level. Balance is the key. So Probio Balance comes to Konica Research, and they've done the research. I'm talking about $1 billion industry research, and they have extensively looked at these 3 strains that are in our Probio Balance product, 3 researched, well-researched strains of the probiotic. And they're not just a probiotic. This product is different from any other product in the probiotic line because we have these 3 strains. And these 3 particular strains of probiotic are specific to bringing on gut health. Oh, and when that gut gets healthy, no leaky gut, no inflammation, divertitis in the gut, then the body can start doing what it needs to do. And the first thing that Probio Balance does with these 3 probiotics is signal the liver. And when the liver gets the signal, then all of a sudden, the right mechanism of action takes place. And it all works in the bile salts, B-I-L-E, bile salts. Most people in the world are very, very deficient in bile salts. Their metabolic syndrome is a metabolic mess. But when you send the Probio Balance into your liver, it now signals the enzymatic therapy. There's a hydrolase, an enzyme that's connected to the bile salts. It's water soluble, so it can go where it needs to go. And it's going to cross right through that pancreatic zone. That's where the triglycerides come from. Now we're getting a healthy liver. And now we're getting a healthy pancreas. And it goes right into the gallbladder. That's where the bile system is. So you got these pancreatic juices flowing. Average person, 1.5 quarts. The older we get, that 1.5 quarts turns out to be 1 quart a day, but we need more. And the best way to make more is to send that signal to the bile salts, and the hydrolase, the enzyme, the enzymatic therapy goes to work. When you produce bile salts, now the balance begins, because bile salts will emulsify the bad. If you're high in triglycerides or high in LDL or VLDL, whatever the lousies are, it emulsifies them. And the body can use what they need and get rid of what they don't. But all the while, the HDL, the carrier, the one that makes sure that everything can be mobilized, is always doing its work. I'm telling you, we're talking about a world-class product here. We're not just talking about another vitamin supplement. We're talking about a nutrition that has the propensity to tackle the number one killer in the world market, cardiovascular health. And we're talking stroke prevention. We're talking heart attack prevention. We're talking about cleaner arteries. We're talking about better blood flow. I can't wait to get my hands on it. And you know what? Modexus has got their hands on it, and it's coming soon. So, Alan, if you'll tell them what the rest of the story is.
Yeah, I really appreciate your explanation. And you know, I think what's really it's amazing to me. I was, you know, in 2014, I'm getting educated on this. They called it the reason they wrote this discussion paper was they were trying to stem the increase in metabolic disease, so cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and then they pointed the finger exactly at the liver, the bile salts, the reduction in that. They pointed their finger, and it just amazes me that nobody picked that up. And then, you know, 4.5 years ago, a research team that we got to meet, we're doing this research and literally taking that information that the FDA said, look, this is a challenge. Can somebody solve this and make something that will do exactly what Charlie said? I like to call healthy cholesterol, HDL, you're healthy, and then you have your lousy. And can we get a balance? And like he says, the response to that is the drug industry made a methodology to just reduce the lousy and measure one without the absolute compensation and the balance. So I'm sitting here in awe of the fact, here I get information, then here we are, you know, not even a decade later, bringing out a product in this field that absolutely is directed at what the FDA identified as the largest problem in treating metabolic disease. And we have that. So what an amazing, amazing place to be in. It is a world-class product with a world-class company and a world-class group of advocates to take that message to the world. It is going to be very, very exciting. Back to you, Randy.
Alan, Dr. Rouse, thank you very much. And I listen and I listen. I learn something every time that I listen. And then I learn something else. And I appreciate you both so much. I appreciate your vision for what is possible here. And look, if you're listening to this, I hope you're not only absorbing it yourself, but we hope you are sharing this information with everyone you know, because I really, is there anyone out here that doesn't need what is about to happen here with Modexus, with Probio Balance? I mean, it is, you heard Dr. Rouse say it, it's truly a world-class formula. And then Alan, I appreciate you sharing the background story leading up to where we are. And there's so much that we can say. It's fallen in place, whether it's the FDA, Health Canada, and you guys are going to learn more and more about that as we go here. So our goal is to provide great background and great education on this formula. And look, if I could wave a magic wand and have it available for you today, I sure would, because I can't wait to get a hold of it myself. So this has been part 2. This is your discovery and training series on Probio Balance, the gold standard in clinically proven probiotic. I want to get this all memorized. I just don't want to mess it up. Probiotic metabolic support. But again, every one of those words is key and an important the message that we have delivered. So we will have a part 3 and part 4, and of course I'm sure there's going to be lots of other things that we'll discuss over time as well to share with you guys. But just stay tuned. I hope you've enjoyed this, and again, let your light shine. You just never want to hide your light under a bushel basket. Doesn't do anybody any good. Let your light shine. Let the story of what we have shine everywhere, because this company is getting ready to grow massively, and all of you are in the right place at the right time. So until next time, stay healthy.